Well, today on our Parent Teacher Corner, we are taking a look at flu, colds, and all those days of school missed. I know my kids have had a few in their day, but what can we do to prevent it? Well, joining us here on the Balancing Act this morning are Dr. Hudson Garrett, Director of Clinical Affairs from Nice-Pak, and we're also happy to welcome back Dr. Domenech, Executive Director of the American Association of School Administrators, here to talk about keeping kids in school during the cold and flu season. Good morning to the both of you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I mean, we all know, I've had so many sick days, I can't even count with my children because cold, flu, very common in schools. What causes this? Why?
Well, what we find is that germs are primarily spread through the hands. And so because of the nature of schools and all of the different activities that take place, they get transmitted back and forth between the hands of the students and the teachers and then some of the surfaces that they touch throughout the day.
Absolutely. You know, my kids are notorious for that. But here's the other thing I wanted to ask, though. So when you do have those sick days, how do they ultimately then affect not just the student, but also the school system as well?
Well, it has a major effect on a number of areas. First and foremost, research shows that time on task is critical to a child's ability to learn. They have to be in school. When they're not in school and they're missing classes, they start falling behind, then they're trying to catch up, and it just creates a whole sequence of events that's detrimental to the child's learning. It also, by the way, has a financial impact on schools because they get state aid based on attendance. So when you have a significant number of children out of school, it actually affects the revenue that comes into the district. So there's a healthy and there's a financial side.
Ah, that's interesting. All right, so what are schools and teachers doing, you think, or what can they do to help in this effort?
Sure. Well, first and foremost, if you can use soap and water, that's always the gold standard. But what we find is that particularly in schools, it's not readily available. And so the use of an alcohol-based hand sanitizer, such as an alcohol-impregnated wipe, is very effective. It's easy to use. Kids know how to use it right out of the package, and it kills 99.9% of the germs.
So prevention works, but then results will vary, though, right?
Well, actually, if you practice hand hygiene, you're going to find that you're going to eliminate most of the infections that can be transmitted and get all the germs off the hand.
The hand hygiene issue is a very, very important one. So there's much more that's being done and a greater focus on preventing the spread of disease by simple things like washing your hands, by using hand sanitizers. All of these things that we're so much aware of today that a couple of years ago really was not, it didn't seem to be as important as we know that it is today.
Absolutely, and I know that there's a big effort underway on your part to help make sure that schools do become a part of keeping hands sanitized. And I know that there's a Healthy Arkansas program happening. Tell me about that.
There is. The Healthy Arkansas program was actually conducted in Jonesboro, Arkansas, and it was a community initiative to really implement a formal hand hygiene program. As we talked about earlier, hand hygiene is the single most important way to reduce the spread of these germs and causing infections. And so what we wanted to do is actually take the message out where it mattered most. Some of the germs that we found typically in healthcare are now in the community settings. And so we took that message to the road and we went out into every single school, every single classroom in the districts, and we actually educated the teachers, the parents, as well as the students on the importance of hand hygiene.
For our staff members here at Health, Wellness, and Environmental Studies, we've kind of made it our passion of creating healthy students so that hopefully they grow into healthy adults, and so that teaching them the full roundness of being a healthy person kind of feeds itself into germ prevention and a healthy lifestyle.
So guys, tell me why you think it's important for us to wash our hands with the wipes.
So you don't spread germs. If people won't get sick and have colds.
Very good. Absenteeism is such critical importance, and we realize that promoting the health and hygiene makes a difference in the number of days our students and our teachers are out of classrooms, and if that's so important to the education process. So we really believe the Sani-Wipe program was able to improve the number of days our teachers and our students were in classrooms.
The wipes have been wonderful for our school system. There's so many opportunities that a sink and soap and paper towels aren't available. So having that stand with the wipes right there and really teaching the students another technique in keeping their hands clean have been wonderful.
Well, today, class, we're going to be making one of my favorite activities, and it's called Garden on a Cracker.
What would happen if we didn't wash our hands?
We will have sick, we get sick.
Yes,
Then
ma'am.
we have to go to the doctor.
Not only is it important in one elementary school, it's important in all of our schools.
What are some activities that we do that we need to wash our hands afterwards? Alexis?
Raise your hand for me.
Right after you go to the bathroom, playing on a playground.
And I think if they went home and almost had that positive nag factor on their parents of, hey, look at what we're learning here at school. Do you see it's important? And our parents were also taking on a new healthy habit.
What are some other things we can do to prevent germs?
Sleep. Eat healthy.
Haley?
Drink lots and lots of water.
Lots and lots of water.
It was a great opportunity for them to see that this wasn't a behavior that was only important when you were at school, and it was a behavior that was a lifestyle change.
I have to tell you what, that was very interesting because we see how hand wipes were effective in controlling the spread of virus. Now, what is it about hand wipes that differs from, let's say, the conventional just kind of pour and rub your hands together method?
Well, what we find with gels and foams is that they do effectively kill organisms, but they don't remove them from the hands like a wipe does. And because the wipe has an actual wipe component to it, it actually removes the organisms and the soil from the hands due to the friction.
That's great because the friction, when you have your wipes too, aren't you removing like a lot of the dirt and grime and all that other stuff that you probably wouldn't be able to get rid of if you're just using the gels?
You are, and when you think about the schools in particular, what we found was that the kids used it more effectively because it covered all the surfaces of the hands, and when they came in from recess or after lunch or some of the different arts and crafts activities that they have in the school setting, it actually removed more of the soil from the hands.
Well, I understand that your company is promoting hand hygiene. Tell me about that.
We are. We know that in our efforts with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention that CDC says that it's the most important thing to do is to wash your hands. And so what we're trying to do is educate as many people as possible about the importance of hand hygiene. And we have, a product such as the Sani-Hands that really talks about not only the educational message, but also using a wipe to remove those organisms from the hand.
I love that. So the whole goal is to what? Wipe out sick days?
Absolutely.
Wipe out sick days. Because guess what?
Wipe out sick days.
I can't take it anymore with my kids. So that would be nice to have in my own household. So, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming by and sharing this with us on the show today.
Thank you.
And this is coming home with me. Thank you. Yeah. And if you want more information, please visit the website. It is Nice-Pak.com. Nice is N-I-C-E, Pak, P-A-K.com.